August 29. Clouds about 0.05. Slight frost. Bland, serene Indian summer weather. Have been gazing all day at the mountains, watching the changing lights. More and more they are clothed with light as a garment, white tinged with pale purple, palest during the midday hours, richest in the morning and evening. Everything seems consciously peaceful, thoughtful, faithfully waiting God's will. August 30. This day just like yesterday. A few clouds motionless and apparently with no work to do beyond looking beautiful. Frost enough for crystal building. Glorious fields of ice diamonds, destined to last but a night. How lavish is nature building, pulling down, creating, destroying, chasing every material particle from form to form, ever changing, ever beautiful. Mr. Delaney arrived this morning. Felt not a trace of loneliness when he was gone. On the contrary, I never enjoyed grander company. The whole wilderness seems to be alive and familiar, full of humanity. The very stones seem talkative, sympathetic, brotherly. No wonder, when we consider that we all have the same father and mother. August 31. Clouds 0.05. Silky cirrus wisps and fringes, so fine they almost escape notice. Frost enough for another crop of crystals on the meadows, but none on the forests. The gentians, goldenrods, asters, etc., don't seem to feel it. Neither petals nor leaves are touched, though they seem so tender. Every day opens and closes like a flower, noiseless, effortless. Divine peace glows on all the majestic landscape like the silent enthusiastic joy that sometimes transfigures a noble human face. September 1. Clouds 0.05. Motionless, of no particular colour. Ornaments with no hint of rain or snow in them. All day calm. Another grand throb of nature's heart, ripening late flowers and seeds for next summer, full of life and the thoughts and plans of life to come, and full of ripe and ready death, beautiful as life, telling divine wisdom and goodness and immortality. Have been up to Mount Dana, making haste to see as much as I can now that the time of departure is drawing nigh. The views from the summit reach far and wide, eastward over the Mono Lake and desert. Mountains beyond mountains, looking strangely barren and grey and bare, like heaps of ashes dumped from the sky. The lake, 8 or 10 miles in diameter, shines like a burnished disk of silver, no trees about its grey, ashy, cindery shores. Looking westward, the glorious forests are seen sweeping over countless ridges and hills, girdling domes and subordinate mountains, fringing in long curving lines the dividing ridges, and filling every hollow where the glaciers have spread soil beds, however rocky or smooth. Looking northward and southward along the axis of the range, you see the glorious array of high mountains, crags and peaks and snow, the fountain heads of rivers that are flowing west to the sea through the famous Golden Gate, and east to hot salt lakes and deserts to evaporate and hurry back into the sky. Innumerable lakes are shining like eyes beneath heavy rock brows, bare or tree-fringed, or embedded in black forests. Meadow openings in the woods seem as numerous as the lakes, or perhaps more so. Far up the moraine-covered slopes and among crumbling rocks I have found many delicate hardy plants, some of them still in flower. The best gains of this trip were the lessons of unity and interrelation of all the features of the landscape revealed in general views. The lakes and meadows were located just where the ancient glaciers bore the heaviest at the foot of the steepest part of their channels, and of course Their longest diameters are approximately parallel with each other and with the belts of forests growing in long curving lines on the lateral and medial moraines, and in broad outspreading fields on the terminal beds deposited toward the end of the ice period when the glaciers were receding. The domes, ridges and spurs also show the influence of glacial action in their forms, which approximately seem to be the forms of greatest strength with reference to the stress of oversweeping, past-sweeping, down-grinding ice streams, survivals of the most resisting masses, or those most favourably situated. How interesting everything is! Every rock, mountain, stream, plant, lake, lawn, forest, garden, bird, beast, insect, seems to call and invite us to come and learn something of its history and relationship. But shall the poor, ignorant scholar be allowed to try the lessons they offer? It seems too great and good to be true. I'll soon be going to the lowlands. The bread camp must soon be removed. If I had a few sacks of flour, an axe and some matches, I would build a cabin of pine logs, pile up plenty of firewood about it, and stay all winter to see the grand fertile snowstorms, watch the birds and animals that winter thus high, how they live, how the forests look snow-laden or buried, and how the avalanches look and sound on their way down the mountains. But now I'll have to go, for there is nothing to spare in the way of provisions. I'll surely be back, however, surely I'll be back. No other place has ever so overwhelmingly attracted me as this hospitable, godful wilderness. September 2. A grand, red, rosy, crimson day, a perfect glory of a day. What it means I don't know. It is the first marked change from tranquil sunshine with purple mornings and evenings and still white noons. There is nothing like a storm, however, the average cloudiness only about 0.08, and there is no sighting in the woods to betoken a big weather change. The sky was red in the morning and evening, the colour not diffused like the ordinary purple glow, but loaded upon separate, well-defined clouds that remained motionless, as if anchored around the jagged, mountain-fenced horizon. A deep red cap, bluffy around its sides, lingered a long time on Mount Dana and Mount Gibbs, drooping so low as to hide most of their bases, but leaving Dana's round summit free, which seemed to float separate and alone over the big crimson cloud. Mammoth Mountain, to the south of Gibbs and Bloody Canyon, striped and spotted with snowbanks and clumps of dwarf pine, was also favoured with a glorious crimson cap, in the making of which there was no trace of economy, a huge bossy pile coloured with a perfect passion of crimson that seemed important enough to be sent off to burn among the stars in majestic independence. One is constantly reminded of the infinite lavishness and fertility of nature, inexhaustible abundance amid what seems enormous waste, and yet when we look into any of her operations that lie within reach of our minds, we learn that no particle of her material is wasted or worn out. It is eternally flowing from use to use, beauty to yet higher beauty, and we soon cease to lament waste and death, and rather rejoice and exult in the imperishable, unspendable wealth of the universe, and faithfully watch and wait the reappearance of everything that melts and fades and dies about us, feeling sure that its next appearance will be better and more beautiful than the last. I watched the growth of these red lands of the sky as eagerly as if new mountain ranges were being built. Soon the group of snowy peaks in whose recesses lie the highest fountains of the Tuolumne, Merced and North Fork of the San Joaquin were decorated with majestic coloured clouds like those already described, but more complicated, to correspond with the grand fountain-heads of the rivers they overshadowed. The Sierra Cathedral, to the south of camp, was overshadowed